I told my niece I would do anything to get her away from her abuser. She never imagined just how literally I meant it. When my sister died 14 months ago, her nurse walked in holding a letter addressed to me. This was your sister's dying request. I opened the tear-stained paper and started reading. My husband is molesting my daughter. He thinks my cancer made me too weak to notice. Get her away from him, however you can. I drove straight to their house and rang the doorbell over and over. Her stepfather shouted through the door, "I'm calling the police if you don't leave!" Through the window, I saw my niece Sabrina for just a second. She had bruises on her cheek I'd never seen before. 5 minutes later, cops showed up and told me I needed to go through legal channels or I'd be arrested. I tried telling them about the bruises and the letter, but they physically forced me away. The next day, I filed for emergency custody. My lawyer told me, "With your sister's letter, we have a strong case." But at the hearing, the stepfather's lawyer was ready. "We're worried about the uncle's mental stability. He showed up making threats. Police were called. He's clearly unstable." The judge gave me supervised visits only, 2 hours per month. That was it. My lawyer and I went home and filed for custody. This time, a fully fledged trial. The court date was set for 4 months away. 3 weeks later, I finally saw Sabrina. She had dark circles under her eyes. We sat playing board games while a supervisor watched from 6 feet away. "How are you, sweetheart?" She wouldn't look at me. Then she whispered, "He comes in my room at night." When I was saying bye, I whispered in her ear I was going to get her out. I saw hope sparkle in her eyes. That night, 10 weeks before the custody trial, I hired a private investigator. He found the stepfather's ex-wife living in another country, alongside complaints from old neighbors. Real evidence. Then one night, the stepfather showed up at my front door. My wife answered. He stood there calm. "Tell your husband to stop, or Sabrina disappears." My wife was shaking after he left. A week later, a teacher called me. Sabrina had a nightmare during class. She was screaming. It was horrible. I drove straight to the school, but when I got there, the principal stopped me in the parking lot. "You're not welcome on school property. Her legal guardian informed us not to tell you take her." The stepfather had claimed I was the one harassing Sabrina. My next supervised visit, Sabrina looked worse, thinner, and walking with a limp. She sat down and told the supervisor in this flat voice, "My dad is a good person. He takes care of me. I'm happy." The words sounded memorized. When the supervisor left to take a phone call, Sabrina pushed a picture she'd drawn toward me. Hidden in the scribbles were tiny words. "Help me, please, help. I'm so tired. I don't want to wake up anymore." She grabbed my hand before I could respond. "Uncle, please. I can't do this anymore. Please." I hugged her and told her I will get her out, no matter what I have to do. She smiled, but I don't know if she believed me. When her stepdad came to pick her up and flashed me a smile, I almost lost it. I wanted nothing more than to lunge and beat him to a pulp, but I knew how that would look. It would only make things worse in the long run. 6 weeks before trial, I broke into their house when they were gone. I found Sabrina's diary hidden under a floorboard. The first pages said, "I miss mommy." The last page just said, "Help," written over and over until the pen tore through the paper. I photographed everything, but knew I couldn't use it without admitting I broke in. My final visit before trial, Sabrina hugged me and whispered, "He bought us plane tickets. He says that after the judge rules for him, we're moving and you'll never find me." Her whole body was shaking. I told her one more time I was going to get her out, but now she just looked at the floor, not even pretending to believe me. I realized this was it. The system was going to fail her completely. So for 6 weeks, I prepared to save her in my own way. I wrote letters to everyone I loved, said goodbye without saying the words. On the morning of trial, I kissed my wife and held her extra long. Court security was loose in my country. I was counting on that. The trial itself destroyed me. His lawyer made me sound insane. Obsessed uncle creating abuse fantasies to cope with his sister's death. Every witness I had vanished or changed their story. Sabrina sat in the courtroom, 30 pounds underweight, staring at nothing. When the judge asked if she wanted to live with me, she said in an empty voice, "I want to stay with my dad." Insufficient evidence. Full custody remains with the stepfather. I stood up. "Thank you, Your Honor." Then I pulled the revolver from my jacket. I thought about my sister's letter, about Sabrina, about my promise to do anything to get her away from him. I fired 3 rounds into the stepdad's chest. Security tackled me as blood started pouring out of his chest. As they dragged me out, I looked back at Sabrina. She was pale and crying, but for the first time in months, I saw relief. I went to prison expecting to die there, originally looking at 25 life, but my case became national news. People demanded an investigation, and 2 months in, the truth came out. My sentence was 2 years. The day I walked out, Sabrina was waiting, 12 now, healthy and smiling. She ran to me and hugged me hard.